Imagine a scene of total cinematic destruction. A shadow dragon, large enough to eclipse the sun, circles a lone mountain castle with a roar that physically shakes the peaks. At the center of the chaos stands Queen Ella. She holds a glowing artifact, bracing for the inevitable collision, the moment where the hero either slays the beast or dies trying. But the collision never comes. Instead, the terrifying dragon descends and lowers its massive head to the stone. From its mouth, it produces a jagged, glowing key, offering it as a gift rather than a weapon. This shift removes the physical threat, but introduces a far more complex challenge. By yielding, the beast suggests that the gateway to the kingdom's future can only be unlocked if the person holding the key possesses a heart that is completely pure. In this narrative landscape, power is never granted without an immediate reaction. The presentation of the key creates a vacuum that draws in a new, darker force to balance the scales. As Ella reaches out, the environment turns hostile. The moon is blotted out by a sudden surge of black clouds and the beating wings of thousands of ravens. The Shadow Queen appears within the swarm with a specific ultimatum. Ella can take the key, but doing so will result in the immediate death of King Alexander. The dragon's gift is instantly weaponized. Ella is forced to decide if the salvation of the realm is worth the life of the person she loves most. Alexander provides the final push, urging Ella to ignore his life and save the kingdom. His selflessness strips away her last excuse to hesitate, forcing a decision. The moment she touches the key, the ground beneath the castle fractures. A massive fissure opens, pouring light into the dark sky. An ancient crystal temple grinds upward from the depths of the earth. This structure acts as a permanent physical landmark of her choice, turning a fleeting moment of hesitation into an inescapable reality. In this no-win scenario, taking action doesn't resolve the conflict. It simply activates an older, deep-seated mechanism designed to lock the protagonist into her decision. Inside the temple, Ella finds no monsters or guardians. She finds a little girl who claims to have been waiting for her. This timeline reveals the central twist. The girl is a living artifact of the past. She is the fairy queen Ella used to be, now standing face to face with her future self. The paths animate to form a closed loop. By bringing the past into the present, the narrative locks Ella into a fixed position. Her previous identity effectively anchors her current choice, making the upcoming sacrifice feel like an inevitable part of her own history. A glowing mirror inside the temple provides the evidence of what is to come. It reveals a future where the kingdom is a wasteland of fire and the crown is shattered. The vision concludes with the most personal loss. King Alexander is nowhere to be found, erased from the world she is trying to save. With the manifestation of her past self and the vision of the future, the psychological trap is fully set. There is no longer any room to doubt the cost of the key. The rule of this universe is a simple binary equation. This scale shows that the crown and the heart cannot coexist. If you choose the survival of the kingdom, the person you love is the cost of admission. To ensure the decision is final, the temple doors slam shut. Ella is isolated, left alone with the weight of the choice and the little girl who represents what she once was. Outside, a surreal clock face materializes in the clouds. Its hands begin to tick, counting down the final 60 minutes before the prophecy is fulfilled. The story has systematically removed every ally and every alternative. Ella is left with nothing but a brutal choice between two different types of total loss. This is the ultimate ruler's trolley problem. Inaction isn't an option, and any action taken ensures a tragedy. We often associate power with the ability to conquer enemies, but here, power is redefined as the burden of managing inevitable sacrifice. True leadership in this context isn't measured by strength, but by the psychological capacity to decide which part of your world is worth destroying to save the rest. With the clock ticking down the final hour, the narrative leaves us with the true cost of authority, the isolation of a queen, who must now choose her own heartbreak. For generations, the fairy kingdom relied on a single invisible infrastructure: magic. It maintained the realm's defenses and fueled every aspect of daily life under the stable leadership of Queen Ella and King Alexander. That stability vanished in a single night. As the blood moon moved into position, the kingdom's magical energy faded to black, leaving every fairy in the realm suddenly and completely powerless. The physical evidence of this collapse appeared immediately at the seat of power. The crystal crown, a symbol of the kingdom's endurance, spontaneously cracked. This wasn't a temporary glitch in the system. The arrival of the moon effectively dismantled the kingdom's primary defense network, leaving the borders open and the population vulnerable to whatever was coming next. Before the kingdom could react to the loss of their power, a voice echoed from the sky, setting a specific, inescapable deadline: before sunrise. The voice issued a direct threat, claiming that Queen Ella would lose the person she loves most. This transformed a broad environmental crisis into a precise, psychological attack. The clock was no longer just about the moon cycle. It was a countdown focused entirely on the queen. As the ground began to shake, a massive golden door rose from beneath the palace. Despite their years on the throne, neither Ella nor Alexander knew this entrance existed. They followed a staircase deep beneath the kingdom. The blue flames and glowing symbols on the walls suggested they were leaving the modern history of the realm behind and entering a space that had been intentionally buried. The palace above had been functioning as a lid, designed to conceal this ancient architecture and the secrets kept within its foundation. At the bottom of the descent, an old fairy waited with a crystal lantern. She had been standing guard for exactly 18 years, waiting specifically for Ella's arrival. When the old fairy touched Ella's forehead, the queen saw a series of memories from 18 years ago, a palace consumed by fire, and a baby wrapped in golden light. The memory of a woman placing a tiny crystal crown on that baby confirmed a truth Ella had never been told. She is the last true fairy queen. This suggests that Ella's entire royal lineage was a carefully constructed facade, a way to keep her true identity hidden while she grew up in the open. A crystal map showed the 3 floating kingdoms making up their world, connected by a shared magical network. But a major disruption is revealed. One kingdom is completely blacked out, its name removed, and its connection to the others severed. Before they could investigate the dead zone, the map caught fire. Out of the darkness stepped a warrior in a silver mask, holding a black crystal sword. The warrior removed his mask to reveal a familiar face, the royal knight who had vanished years ago. He hadn't been captured. He had been observing the enemy. The knight reported that the Shadow Queen has returned. Her goal isn't to seize the throne or take the crown. She is moving specifically to destroy Ella's heart. This warning connects back to the sky's prophecy. The threat isn't a standard military invasion. It is a surgical strike aimed at the queen's personal life. The events of the night now form a clear sequence. The blood moon's arrival was the first move, designed to strip the last true queen of her magic and leave her completely defenseless before the main assault. As the castle walls shattered, the darkness from the maps became a physical reality, flooding the room through a massive breach in the stone. A shadow dragon, large enough to cover the moon, appeared in the sky. Its glowing red eyes ignored everyone else in the room, focusing entirely on Ella. The dragon spoke a single sentence: "Queen Ella, your destiny begins now." The secrets of her birth and the threat of the Shadow Queen have finally met. With her past revealed, Ella's role has changed. She is no longer just a peacetime ruler. She is now the specific, isolated target of an ancient war that has finally arrived at her gate.